I was asked today if I were a leader pre-colonization, before the colonizers were heading west from the east and laying land claims here in the Midwest, and I was a leader and a chief at that time, what I would do. And I just got done giving a presentation on two different frames of thought in two different cultures. We had the analytical brains, the linear brains, and then we had the heart dominant brains and the intuitive dominant thinkers. And so obviously all of us have both. We have the intuitive mind and then we have the analytical mind. We need both of those things in this world. And so I answered his question in alignment with the talk that I just gave. I talked about how we were two different cultures who clashed, and that if I was a leader at that time, for myself, what I would do is I would befriend as many people as I could on the opposite end. Find some common ground, find some kind of common interest, and befriend as many of them as I could, talk to them. And obviously that wouldn't have solved all of the problems. There would have been people who just are indifferent, people who probably wouldn't care, people who probably didn't even value the people of this land in the first place, which is understandable. So I explained to him that I believe my life purpose is communication and diplomacy, to expand this ancient wisdom and this ancient knowledge. So I'm here at my place of work, my place of employment, which is a cultural site, and I speak on the history and I speak on the stories that go along with this land. And so I explained to him that I would try to bridge the gap of knowledge. And so today I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that gap of knowledge and share a story about instant gratification and delayed gratification. This framework, as you look at it, represents instant gratification and delayed gratification. The people who couldn't resist and wanted instant gratification, they eventually had a primitive fate. And the people who practiced delayed gratification, they eventually evolved into a more advanced being. So this is our emergent story. They say there was a time on the earth when there was only plants and animals. There were no humans. And we are awaiting in the spirit form, in the metaphysical realm. And at this time, our story goes is that there was these two entities that had a role to play in tricking and deceiving some of these spiritual entities into emerging into the physical realm before the world was ready. And the first entity was Two-Faced Woman, and she was accompanied by the trickster, Ikotomi. And so these two entities, these two spirits, they say represented lies, deceit, deception, greed, instant gratification. And Two-Faced Woman had a beautiful face on one side and an ugly, gnarled face on the other. And Ikotomi was a spider-like, monster-like figure. And they say these two spirits were banished to the world because they sought power. They were greedy. They wanted beauty. They wanted to be above everyone else. And so they say, according to the story, that these two spirits used to play tricks on the earth until one day they decided to call a truce because they heard voices deep down in the earth, in the spirit lodge. And so they said, let's see if we can trick some of these spirits into emerging out of the spirit realm. And so they gathered all the best of the world that they could find, the most delicious food, the most delicious vegetation, the most appealing hides and clothing, and they put all of these earthly goods into a pack. And they had a messenger who they say was a wolf, and they put this pack on the back of the wolf, sent it down into the cave that they heard the voices, and they placed the pack before the doorway of the spirit lodge, and they waited for them to notice. And as you could guess, they couldn't resist the curiosity, and they started to notice this food that was sitting by the doorway. Berries, meat, clothing, and they started trying it. And they started becoming curious. So the wolf told them, if you liked all of these earthly goods, follow me to the surface of the earth and you can have plenty more. And according to the stories, there was a leader at that time. And in our stories, they say his name was Tchokahe. And he told the people, wait, the world isn't ready. We were given instructions to wait in the spirit lodge until it is. And as you can guess, some of the people listened and followed the instructions. Some people couldn't resist, and so they followed the wolf out of this spirit realm onto the surface of the world. And they found that it was lush, beautiful, and plentiful. And at that time, Two-Faced Woman was very nice. She had her ugly side showing. And she represents human nature. We have the good, the bad, the duality, the beautiful, the ugly, the dark, the light. And so she was hiding her ugly side. And so she helped them initially. And then, according to our stories, a great winter came upon the earth. And then all the food began to recede. The food became scarce. And so the people were not prepared. And so they went to Two-Faced Woman and they said, Two-Faced Woman, can you help us? We're cold, we're hungry, we didn't prepare, we don't know how to hunt. And it was at that point that Two-Faced Woman, she revealed her ugly side, her malicious side, and she laughed at them. And then she knew that they weren't going to survive. And so these people got scared, and they realized they were being deceived, and so they tried to run back to the doorway that they entered out of. And so these people got back to the doorway, and they found that the doorway was closed. And so they cried and they pleaded for help. And according to the stories, they were approached by a guide. Some say the creator, some say there was a spirit guide who spoke to them and said, because you didn't follow the instructions, this world is going to be very unhospitable. It's going to get cold. You're not going to make it. And because you didn't follow the instructions, you're going to have to evolve. You're going to have to change. And so those first beings became the four-legged, the buffalo, the deer, the elk, the bear. And so from there, eons passed and the world was ready, and then the spirits were given the signal that these more evolved vessels were beginning to emerge on the earth millions of years later. And they started to populate the planet, and they were given instructions on how to survive. And they told them that if they were to follow the four-legged, they were going to lead them to vegetation, they're going to lead them to edible foods, and they were going to lead them to spring water, and they could use their hides for clothing and use their meat for nourishment. And so from there, these species began to evolve and became more and more advanced as they started to eat high energy foods and started to develop value systems, stories, intricate culture with songs and dances and artistic ways of living. And so as I think about this story, I realized that a lot of the symbolism in human nature is all about following this framework of delayed gratification. A lot of times in life, I felt like I needed the instant fix. I needed the instant money. I needed the instant solution. And come to find out, we don't need the instant fix. We don't need the instant money, the instant solution, the instant success. In actuality, what we need is a microvision and a few core values, such as kindness, love, gratitude, generosity. When we are in states of flow and states of happiness, and we understand that if we practice patience, if we practice delayed gratification, ultimately leads us to our end destination of success faster than it would if we wanted instant results, instant success. So within this teaching is a simple example in nature that helped me to record this video, which was a germination phase, a maturity phase, and a fruitful phase. In life, when we're trying to find our purpose, if we were to follow this simple framework of germination, maturity, and fruitful, we could use it to find solutions to simple micro problems, such as how to formulate the best daily schedule, or how to formulate the best 100-year life plan. So for example, when I was formulating this video, a lot of the problems that I run into are overthinking and over planning, and not just executing on a simple plan to share something from the heart. And so as I was thinking about this video, for example, I was thinking it's more effective to be patient and just to speak with clarity and peace of mind, as opposed to stress over a script and to stress about if anybody's going to like the video, and just to put it out there from the heart. And so this is my attempt at the ideation phase tested against the fabric of reality. And then if I repeat this process over time, I will find that as I am in non-resistance, I'm going to get more reps with less worry and with less stress. And so I hope this video resonates with somebody out there, and I very much enjoy this frictionless flow, this frictionless style of content. I will be back with a few more stories. I am documenting my process of getting unstuck in life. A lot of times I find myself stuck, lost, overwhelmed, and I feel like I'm a hamster running a hamster wheel. And I'm going to start trying to find solution and ways in which to get myself out of these creativity ruts. And so this is one of the steps I'm taking, which is frictionless flowing content. So in the meantime, everybody stay well, stay blessed, and hope to see you all soon.